Welcome to your Vibe Tribe. I'm your host, Eliana. Tune in every Friday to listen to conversations about mental health, relationships, dating, pop culture, and listen in on powerful interviews with powerful women from all walks of life. Hey guys, it's Eliana and welcome back to another episode of Your Vibe Tribe. And yes, I am solo once again. It's kind of makes me sad to say this, but Vanessa is no longer going to be a part of the podcast. And although we are happy for her, it is a little bit of a sad moment, but we're going to be okay. And yes, don't worry, I'm going to explain what happened. So sit back and get some popcorn and get ready for the tea. No, I'm kidding. It's really not that dramatic. But anyways, before I get into what happened and why Vanessa's not a part of the podcast anymore, I want to first start off by talking about how Your Vibe Tribe started, because I think that's important. So I have been in YouTube for about a year now. And I've been doing TikTok and Instagram and doing mid-sized fashion videos and doing like female empowerment videos and just giving like tips and just like empowering other women to be the best versions of themselves with whatever that is, right? And I love YouTube because I feel like I love getting in front of the camera. I love editing. I love that whole process. But I think sometimes if I had something important to say, if I wanted to talk about a really serious topic, I felt like sometimes it was really difficult to talk about something serious because I was so worried about making the video entertaining or making sure that the lighting was right or making sure that I had a full face of makeup and that I looked great. And I think that sometimes would kind of stop myself from making those videos and talk about the things that I wanted to talk about. I still love being on YouTube, and I think I am the most authentic version of myself on there as best as I can. But because YouTube is about video and it's about entertainment, I felt like I couldn't say everything that I wanted to say on there. So pretty much I was like, how can I say the things that I want to say, talk about the things that I want to talk about, and have reach, the most amount of reach, without having to worry about what I look like or having to worry about, what I'm wearing on camera or the lighting. And that's why I created this podcast. And I had the vision of what I wanted Your Vibe Tribe to be about. And I wanted it to be this community of strong, empowered women who had a safe space to pretty much be themselves and be their most authentic version of themselves. And so I wanted to do this podcast, and I was like, okay, Eliana, you've never done this podcast. Like, how the hell are you going to do this by yourself? And Vanessa, she has her blog, Living Cosmic, and she is wanting to also empower women in her own way. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, we're really good friends. Maybe I can reach out to her and bring her on this podcast and she'll help me with it, and it'll be both of us on there kind of like bouncing ideas off of each other. And it'll be a way to also like stay in touch. I was like, okay, this is like an amazing idea. Let's do this. So I reached out to her and she was like, yes, let's do it. I'm all for it. Let's do the podcast. And it really was like a super spontaneous thing. We didn't really talk about it a lot. I think I like reached out to her when I was like in the airport, to be honest, like about to board a flight. So it was like such a last minute thing, but it felt so right. And I was like, okay, this is going to be so awesome to do this with my friend. So move forward to the beginning of the podcast. I mean, I kind of had a gist of what I wanted Your Vibe Tribe to be about, but I didn't 100% know, I didn't know the exact direction I wanted to take it in. And at that point we were like, all right, let's talk about the things we like. So let's talk about like mental health. Let's talk about dating, like relationships, pop culture, because these are conversations that me and her were having just ourselves. Like me and Vanessa would always have like super deep conversations about random things. So I was like, oh my gosh, let's bring that to the podcast. But I think as we started doing the podcast, it's obviously a big commitment. It's a every single week kind of thing. We have to edit, we have to promote it on social media. And I think as we started progressing in the podcast, I really got a super clear vision as to where I wanted to take this podcast. And then she also was like, hey, like I want to do this podcast. I want to do a podcast for my blog. And so that already, I was like, oh crap, like how are you going to do both podcasts, because that's a really big commitment to make for both, to be a part of two projects like that. So I kind of knew at some point that Vanessa would eventually, kind of do her own path and focus more on her own projects. But even when it happened, I was still a little bit sad about it. But, Vanessa has her own podcast with her friends for her blog. And she basically came to me and was like, hey, I want to give 100% of my time and effort to my blog and my podcast for the blog. And I, of course, 100% respect that. One, it takes a lot of balls to be able to, to vocalize that to someone that you're working with. So I respect her so much for coming to me and telling me like, hey, I'm wanting to focus my energy this way. And, I don't think that this is in line with what I want to do for 2022. And, we have to support that, And so I'm super happy for her. I'm actually so excited that she's focusing more on her blog and her podcast. And I'm sure she's going to do amazing things with that. But we are going to continue because when I tell you that this podcast is like my baby, I love this podcast. I look forward to sitting here and talking to you guys every week, and hopefully we grow this community of strong women. I know that there are some men that listen to this podcast. You are not my target audience, but the fact that you listen makes me see that the topics that we're talking about are universal and they're interesting to everyone, not just women. And so that makes me really happy. But this podcast is my baby, guys. I cannot wait to continue to grow this platform, continue to grow the people who listen to this podcast, because at the end of the day, I strongly believe that there are certain things and stories that need to be shared, and they're just waiting to be uncovered. And I am here to uncover those stories for you. But anyways, enough of the serious talk. So what can we expect for 2022 of your Vibe Tribe? Well, I want to make this podcast a little bit about my life and a little bit about the stories that I'm sharing. So I'm going to be alternating. I'm going to have at least one powerful interview a month. By powerful interview, I mean I want to bring on women from all walks of life to share their stories. I want to bring on women from different career paths, different experiences that they've had, including traumas or amazing, beautiful moments. And I want to have them come on this podcast and feel comfortable to share their stories. I think with me, I've been through a lot of things in life, and I've been through a lot of periods and of moments in my life where I felt so alone in what I was going through. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And I think when you hear the story of someone else that's similar to yours, it could inspire you or it can make you feel like you're not alone. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to accomplish with this podcast. And I can't wait. I can't wait to connect with more people and connect with more women that are doing amazing things, that will do amazing things or have overcome so much. And so that really excites me. So I can't wait for that. And then obviously, I really want to come on and again, be the most authentic version of myself and talk about things that we're all going through, right? Like I want to talk about anything on here. I want to talk about my relationship. I want to talk about things that I've overcome in my personal life. I want to talk about the things that I'm still struggling with, or just things that happen to me on a daily basis, the books that I'm reading, all these things. I want to talk about them on the podcast. Nothing is off limits. That's including some scandalous topics that we will definitely cover. I want to talk about everything: mental health, sex, just everything and anything. No topic can be left uncovered. But if you are new here and this is your first time listening to this podcast, welcome to the community. Welcome to your Vibe Tribe. I am so happy to have you. All right, so now that we've covered what's going to happen on this podcast, I just wanted to kind of do a quick update on my life and what's been happening with me. So I just went on a work trip to Orlando, which was really fun. I actually got to spend some time with my family, which was amazing. And then as I was eating, we went to like this Mexican restaurant called, I think it was like Azteca de Oro, something like that. Whatever. We sat down, we were like eating, and we were discussing what were our goals like for 2022. And I started to just think about all the things that I put on my vision board. And for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, I actually put on my story my vision board for the year. Because what I do is I actually make a phone lock screen vision board, which I know that sounds so weird, but it's so much easier than actually making like a real life vision board. And I mean, it worked for me, so hopefully it'll work for you. But the app that I use to make the vision board on my lock screen, like as an image, is I use the app called Bazaar. Super easy. You can choose like the size of your canvas. So you can choose the size to be like the size of the lock screen, and then you can add a bunch of images. You can like use all these tools to make it look really pretty and like do like nice and like fun background prints. But it's so easy to do, and like all the pictures that I get from my vision board, I get from Pinterest. So I literally just search on Pinterest the images. I'm really big on affirmations. If you follow me on Instagram, I try to do a different affirmation every day and share that with you guys. And I also use that as a way to like say it for myself. But I'm really big on affirmations. And so I will search up affirmations, and then I'll search up like maybe locations that I wanted to travel this year and all that stuff. So I haven't made my 2022 vision board yet, but I'm going to be doing that tonight. And I'm so excited to like sit down and really reflect on what I want to work on in 2022, which I'll talk about on my next podcast. But I wanted to talk about really all the things that I had on my vision board this year, and then see like if I actually accomplished that. So I'm going to go through that with you guys. So the first thing on my vision board is a picture of me and my family. So it's like me, my brother, my mom, my stepdad, and then my stepsister. And then right under that, I have an affirmation that says, when we have each other, we have everything. So that for me was really huge. Like I really wanted to work on getting closer to my family. I've always been really close with them, but I really wanted to, one, spend more time with them, and just two, make them a priority. I think, since I got into my relationship, I've been together with my boyfriend almost 3 years, and yeah, like I never want to get to the point where I'm so involved in my relationship that I'm forgetting about my family, like my close family. And so I just wanted to make that a priority and just spend as much time as I can, like make sure I'm checking in on my stepsister and make sure I'm checking in on my brother, and just being as close to them as possible, because it's true. Like when you have your family, you have everything. You may not have money, you may not have other material things, but when you have family, that's a huge thing to have, and not everyone can say that. So that was one thing that I did do. I definitely made it a point to literally call my mom every single day, which that may sound insane for some of you to hear that, but I love talking to my mom, even if it's for just like a couple minutes. It feels really good that like I know what's going on in her life and she knows what's going on in mine. So, all right. So the next picture I have is me kissing my boyfriend. And I love my relationship. And, when I created the vision board, there wasn't really any issues in my relationship. I just wanted to make sure that I put that picture as a reminder of like why I love him. And yeah, as like a picture to signify that, our relationship is strong and that we are growing in our relationship and to continue to grow in the relationship. Because for me, like, I think a relationship should help you grow and it should help the other person grow. And I just put a picture to remind myself of that. And so that's still going strong. We are better than ever. So that makes me feel really good that that picture did its job. All right. And then right under the picture of me and Manny, my boyfriend, I put, I love who I am and so does my partner. I had, in the beginning of our relationship, a lot of insecurities. It was my first long-term committed relationship. And I think at moments I had some issues with my own like self-esteem, or if I was feeling insecure, and I think sometimes I would project that onto the relationship and project that as me maybe not trusting him or having doubts, and it really was all stemming from me having those moments of insecurity about myself, right? Like if I wasn't feeling good about myself or whatever. And so I really wanted to put that affirmation on there. It's like, I love who I am and so does my partner, as just like an extra affirmation. And that's really, really, really been working. So we can check that on the vision board that it worked. This one I'm a little embarrassed about because did not stick to this one, but I put on my vision board 20% gym, 80% diet. Guys, that is something I really struggled with this year. I'm not going to lie. Moving from Orlando to California was really rough for me in terms of just like completely changing my routine. And it took me a little bit of a while to just kind of get used to my routine again. And I definitely like just didn't commit to the gym 100%. My diet was all over the place. And I think, oh my gosh, me and my boyfriend were eating out so much when I first moved to California. Like it's atrocious. Definitely not okay. Like I'm definitely okay with being thick, but we also have to, exhibit self-control, and I definitely was not doing that. So we need to re-add that to the calendar, we need to re-add that for the vision board next year. And then I have Bodies by Rachel on there because I absolutely am obsessed with her programs. Actually, it's called, so her name is Rachel Dillon. I have a picture of her on my vision board. Her body is incredible. She is like super strong too, like muscle. She has a lot of muscle definition on her legs. And so her body, and really just her, she inspires me so much. She now changed her app to called Move With Us, and it's amazing. Her workouts are so hardcore and so intense, but I'm obsessed with them. And I want to commit 100% to every workout on the program. And I actually just started the program today. So I literally have to go to the gym after this episode. And yeah, I'm adding that onto next year because I'm going to continue doing her programs because they're amazing. But I did finish successfully one of her programs, but I definitely didn't do every workout. So there's always room for improvement, but we'll do that next year. I promise. All right. And then let's see. I have a picture of me in a bikini on my phone, and that just represents that I want to continue to grow in my self-confidence and my love for my body. I think I literally sat on my phone one day and I looked at all the pictures of myself in like different years, and I don't think I've ever, until right now, I haven't really appreciated what my body looks like and where I was in that moment of my life. And I think we're always criticizing our bodies so much. And then a year later, we're like, oh my God, I looked so good last year. Like, what was I complaining about? Right. And so I really just wanted to put that picture of my body as like a symbol of embracing what you look like, embracing your size, and loving your body regardless, and loving yourself most importantly. And I definitely did that this year. So I'm really glad I definitely progressed in my self-confidence. All right. And then I have travel the world. And then I also have travel more, worry less. I love that. And guys, I traveled so much this year, and I may not have traveled to anywhere crazy like Australia or Spain, but I went to Tulum, Mexico. I went to, where else? I went to Texas. I went to Puerto Rico this year. Where else? I'm going to Mexico again twice before the end of the year. Like, I'm going to Mexico next week, and then I'm going again in January. So I'm definitely traveling. I've been going on work trips now to Orlando, which is awesome. I get to visit my family. So I definitely have traveled a lot this year, more than I thought. And so we can check that one off the list. I did have Istanbul on my vision board. I just wanted to go to Istanbul, so didn't happen, but we'll try again. Okay, and this is definitely like one of the most important things. I have 3 things about money on my vision board. I have financial freedom in a heart. I have a money tree with like a golden watering can, like watering the tree. And then I have an affirmation that says, I attract abundance everywhere I go. And guys, when I tell you, I have never made as much money in my entire life as I have made this year. And I don't want to say that to make anyone feel bad or to compare yourselves, but I have struggled so much in my life with abundance and having money and just managing my money. I've just always had like a scarcity in money. Like, I'm always like struggling, or I'm always like short on money or trying to make ends meet. And this last year has been incredible for me. I've been working so hard on my job, and I've been putting in so much effort, and it feels so good to see that come back to me. Because for so long, I've always felt like, oh my gosh, like when is it going to be my turn? Like, when is the money going to come? When is the abundance going to flow? And I had so many amazing things in my life. I had an amazing relationship. I had an amazing family. I have a great job that I love, but that abundance was still missing in terms of money, like physical wealth. And so it feels really good that I was able to manifest that abundance this year. And hopefully it carries on to 2022. But that wraps up my vision board, guys. I'm really happy with this year and everything that I've done and everything that I've accomplished. And I just wanted to let you guys know, like, I feel like the power of manifestation. I know it's like everyone is saying like manifestation, but it's just so true. Like, it's so true. And I think the point of a vision board isn't to necessarily like, oh my gosh, like if you reflect at the end of the year, like you didn't do this, like you should feel bad about yourself. No, it's a way to reflect, and it's a way to constantly be thinking about what goals you have and what things you're wanting to work on. And like, I know it's crazy, but I literally had this vision board on my phone. Like, how many times a day do you look at your phone? Every single day for like several hours. Okay. So I literally every day, even though I wasn't really like looking at it or reading it, I was seeing all of these things like travel more, worry less, attract abundance. And those things are like just slowly ingraining themselves into your brain. And so when you make decisions every day, you're making them hopefully more in line with what your goals are going to be. And that itself is what manifestation is. Also, just believing in what you're doing, right? Like if you see it every day, like I love who I am and so does my partner, like you're eventually hopefully going to believe that, right? If you look at it enough times, if you say it enough times, and then eventually it will happen. And I don't really think I've ever felt like a vision board would do that, but I'm telling you, this year it has worked for me, and I don't think I'll ever stop doing that vision board. And again, like if maybe my goal, wasn't exactly met, like that doesn't mean you have to accomplish that goal this year, right? It's just that you're working towards it. So if you have a goal on your vision board that you didn't get to check it off, add it to next year. That's fine. Like the progress doesn't end in 1 year. Like you have to keep going. So just to keep that in mind, that's just my 2 cents on the whole vision board thing. Like, do it. If you're not a crafty person, do it on your phone. Just put a couple images together. Like, it doesn't have to be this whole thing. You know what I mean? It's just so you can see it every day, believe it, put it on there, read it every day, look at it. And I'm telling you, it'll work. I believe it will. But anyways, I am wishing that everybody's vision boards for 2022 become a reality. But anyway, guys, that is the episode for today. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to tune in because we are talking about our goals for 2022. Bye.